Now, why don't we get into Tyler Baltierra? Remember, I told y'all this was like a bonus kind of like story that I'm adding to today's episode because I forgot that I even had this screenshot. So I was minding his own business on Instagram the other day over the weekend. I think it was a Saturday. And we already know that he and Caitlin are extremely upset about their adoption situation with Carly, right? They feel as though they were misled by the adoption agency, by the adoptive parents. They really want to speak out on the dark side of adoption. A lot of people are very much against this, and I can see why, but I do think it is important that we continue to shed a light on how adoption isn't necessarily all sunshine, daisies, rainbows, or whatever. It can go very wrong. It is inherently like a very painful and traumatic thing in general, right? So I do applaud them for speaking out, speaking their truth, but I do think that sometimes there might be some things that they say that they take it too far. Okay, I will say that for sure. But he did post this on Saturday about how the quote unquote price of adoption changes depending on the race or ethnicity of a child. Okay, so this is his Instagram story. And someone messaged him, I didn't know you paid different prices for different race, ethnicity, health, right? And so he shared some examples of that. So there's a program for adopting Caucasian children, and that ranges from $10,000 to $15,000. If you're looking to adopt I believe this one was African-American child, you're looking between $8,000 to $13,000. Sorry, what is this? Hang on. Are you guys seeing this? Do I need glasses, y'all? Give me one quick second. What is that one in the middle? I got to pull this up on the side here. Hang on one second, you guys. So if you want to choose the race of the baby that you are comfortable with, so if you want to be the one to choose, then you can adopt this child from 8,000 to 13,000. And so we will advertise you to birth parents of all mixed and full races, with the exception of the full Caucasian race. You can also narrow it down and select the mix or full races you want to be advertised to. The full African-American race is also available in this program if you are open to. And then on the first one, the exclusive program, it was saying our exclusive program allows you to adopt a full Caucasian baby only. We will advertise you to full Caucasian birth parents and no other race or race combinations. Then in the last one, the full African-American program, our full African-American program allows you to adopt only a full African-American baby. We will advertise you to full African-American birth parents only and no other race or race combinations. And that is the cheapest one. That is the cheapest program. Damn, $4,000 to $9,000. And he asks, is this ethical? And you know what? You guys, the phone lines are going to be open at the end of this episode. I want to hear from you guys. Do you think this is ethical? I doubt you guys are surprised that this is the situation. I believe it's pretty much always been this way. But you know what? I think he's asking important questions. I think he's opening our eyes to different things. He's sparking discussions about things or aspects of the adoption industry that we don't typically discuss. And that, I think, is important. I do, right? Joy asks, that can't be ethical. What? See? Malen says, love Tyler and Caitlin. While most of the cast are Trumpers, Tyler and Kate still support trans and LGBTQIA rights and minorities. Right? I think they're great people. I do. Of course, like anybody, sometimes they put their foot in their mouth. Sometimes, they get it wrong. But I think, in their heart of hearts, they are good people. Acacia says, wow. Right? Ramster says, is that like a private organization? It looks like it. Let me put it back up. KO says it sounds like an auction. And it does. It's kind of scary when you think about that, because when you think of auctioning humans, what do you think about? I know what I think about. Hey, Hamlet's princess says this is engaging, really, right? It's interesting. These conversations need to be had. Ashley says not ethical at all. So let me put it back up, and we're going to see what agency or whatever in particular we are looking at here. So he has cropped out the name of this agency. Right? But they just have different programs, our exclusive program, our conventional program, our full African-American program, And so some of the things that you are paying for in these programs include marketing and advertising, home study, legal services, social worker, attorney, and birth mother state fee determined by the state. And then there is a tax credit. Okay, so there's a tax credit for adopting. So one thing that I noticed that's very interesting is that I don't want to, it sounds crass to say it, but you almost want to say to buy a Caucasian baby. Let me keep this back up. Okay, you guys, quote unquote, to buy or to adopt a Caucasian baby, you pay more for marketing and advertising. You'd be paying about $17,000 versus for a child of any race, any random race, that would be $15,000. And then if you want to have an African-American baby, then you'd only be spending $10,000 on marketing. $17,000 versus $10,000. It's almost half off, right? So the home study, however, that seems to stay the same, which is good, legal services, 6,000 to 10,000. Okay, that stays consistent. So it's about marketing. Marketing is the major thing that drives the price down. Lord. Oh, Lord. Don't forget, you guys, I will be opening the phone lines because I genuinely want to hear what y'all have to say about this. It's a very interesting conversation starter, to say the least. Star says, putting a price on humans is disgusting. We should only be paying for the service. I'm happy Tyler and Kate spread awareness of adoption aftermath. I agree. I do. Steph says, there is a book called Before We Were Yours that is historical fiction based on the start of adoption in the US. Very eye-opening. Steph, you know what? Your avatar describes you very well. I get the vibe that you read a lot of books. You came here directly with a book recommendation. I've starred your comment and put it to the side so I can go ahead and find this book. I have like Spotify Premium, and I assume a lot of you guys have it too, but it allows you to like listen to audiobooks for free. So I think that's what I'm going to do, try and find that over there. And if not, then I'll go ahead and get a copy of the book, right? Oh, Hamlet's meant enraging, right? Ashley says, I work for social services. We deal in adoptions as well, but we pay the caregivers, not the other way around. So nice to have someone from inside of the field to share some insights. Milan says, because Black babies are not desirable, are usually the least adopted babies. That's so sad. It is. It is. Steph says, also Orphan Train, I have heard, is a good book. Look at you living up to your profile picture, and I love it. Thank you so much for the book recommendations. So Ramster's asking if this is the agency that Kate and Tyler use. Honestly, he cut out the name of the actual program here. So I would have to take a look and then get back to you guys in tomorrow's episode of the Morning Report. So keep an eye out for that. But for the time being, listen, I do appreciate that he has shared this information, because a lot of people don't really think about these things when they think about adoption, right? In fact, there's, speaking of books, Steph, there's another book, and there was an author that Tyler and I were supposed to do a live collaboration with about adoption and whatnot. I'm going to circle back with him. It's very, very difficult to nail him down for a time, but there's an author, and we had spoken to her about, her, because she has done, I think she's an anthropologist, and she has been studying adoption and how it kind of is like a form of human trafficking. It's very often unethical, right? And so we wanted to have that conversation. And you know what? If it's going to be too hard to track or to nail Tyler down, then we might have to just go ahead and do it with the author, because this is an important conversation to have, right? Shamjam, nice to see you. So essentially, they're putting a value on human life based on race. I'm not surprised. Yep, they are. They are, right? Very, very sad stuff. It is, and they're really sticking their necks out to put this information out there. A lot of people are upset with them for blowing the lid or whistleblowing on the fact that adoption is not just this beautiful, perfect thing that it has been portrayed. Sometimes children are stolen, right? Even in like certain countries. How many times have you heard about children from China being stolen, and sold to people, families around the world, particularly in the US and Canada and in Europe, right? How many times do you hear about that happening with children from Africa? Isn't that what happened with one of Angelina Jolie's children? I don't want to name them, but I'm picturing one. And I remember that there was this whole story about how she was portrayed as being an orphan, but her mother was very much alive and her mom was fighting to have her back. And then there was another child that she adopted, right? I think this was from Cambodia. She didn't like the name. It's a name that is, I guess, not American enough because it's not an American child. So she decided to change his name. Like, she's renaming a dog, These are important conversations to have. It doesn't mean that anybody who adopts a child is bad or adoption is bad. No, it's just there are certain parts of it, certain aspects that need to be re-examined, discussed, and challenged so that we could make it into a better system. And so, again, kudos to Caitlin and Tyler for having these conversations. Okay. Now, somebody's saying that was Madonna's child. Was it Madonna? Okay, is that the Madonna's child, the one that she got from Malawi? I don't remember her name, but I could have sworn this happened with Angelina Jolie's child too. I think Angelina had 2 problematic adoptions, but yeah, maybe, right? Lots of very, very, very sad stuff. SW says her child from Ethiopia. So it looks like it was Angelina Jolie and it was Madonna. And then Angelina Jolie also renamed her child Paxton. That's the renamed version of him. I don't remember what his original name was, but she does that. So to take a child from a different country, raise them completely, away from their culture, completely strip their name, which is a signifier of their culture as well. Is that ethical? Is that okay? Is that in the child's best interest? But she's rich though. So okay, the child has a better quality of life because she's rich is what a lot of people are going to say, right? Interesting conversations. Now, there was something else that happened over the weekend. Listen, y'all, I was enjoying this rare sunlight. I wasn't online to see this. Thank God, because it's very upsetting. Somebody took a photo of Caitlin and Tyler's biological daughter, Carly, right? Who is now Brandon and Teresa's daughter. Somebody took her photo and started spreading it online. Again, I didn't see it. I was outside this weekend, but that is what I heard because of this post that Caitlin and Tyler shared on Instagram. The irony here is that the same pages and people who continuously bash me and Ty for just speaking about our adoption publicly are now spreading an actual picture of her publicly. The hypocrisy is literally insane to me. Tyler says that they have all become/done the exact thing they claim to hate. Guys, who would do that? She is a private citizen. Yeah, she was featured on this show as an infant, as a baby. But when she started growing up, the parents started making sure that her face was not plastered out there. Why would a grown person be trolling around the internet, social media pages for pictures of a child, especially a child that has no relation to them? That is creepy behavior. It's very weird. It's stalker behavior. It's borderline PDF behavior. Why would anybody need to do that? She is not your child. She is not related to you in any way. Don't do that. That's weird. Oh my goodness. The fact that you even have to tell grown people not to do that kind of stuff. That's crazy. Thank God I did not see that photo. I just, wow. How do you not feel like you're violating somebody's privacy when you share that sort of image or when you go out searching for that sort of image? Shem says, I adopted my dog from the shelter. He was 5 years old at the time. I didn't even change his name and he's a dog. I figured, exactly. He already went by that name his whole life. Why change it? Exactly. You are an empathetic person who put the dog before themselves. You went, hey, listen, I would prefer for this dog to have a different name, but this dog is used to this name. This dog identifies with this name. If I call this name, the dog responds. It had a whole life with this name. Why would I strip that of this dog? And the fact that, no offense, and this is no hate against Angelina Jolie, I like her, but the fact that she didn't feel that way about a human child, it's weird. It is, right? Julissa says, I thought there were, yeah, I think Zahara is the one where they falsely portrayed her as an orphan. And this is something that a lot of children from Western countries, or is it Eastern? From Africa, from Asia, this is something that happens to a lot of them, where they are portrayed as being orphans, but their parents are very much alive. Gabby says, Gabbard Aber says, they say though they would be getting the child back after a certain point. Oh yeah, they thought. That was very, very misleading on their part because in fact, and again, I am reading their book. Conquering Chaos. I read that for my channel members. So maybe you've seen that over there because you are a channel member, Gabber Dabbers. But in the most recent chapter that I read for you guys, I put that out on Friday, I want to say. They talked about how they wanted it to be a closed adoption up until the very end. They did not even want to see photos. They did not even want to visit her. So how do you go from that up until the very end when you give birth to thinking all of a sudden that you were giving off the child for a long-term babysitting plan? See, that part I disagree with them on, like, again, I feel bad for them. I don't think that they were given the due process as two minors adopting out a child. They did not have an actual lawyer advocating for them, nothing. So I do think they were taken advantage of. But when it comes to things like that, I'm like, okay, no, that's a little bit too much. Par contre, a little bit too much, however. Ramster says Madonna adopted her daughter, but her daughter's father is still alive. Oof. You see, there is an ugly underbelly to the adoption industry. There is a human trafficking component to the adoption industry. And this reminds me as well of surrogacy, right? Like we see all these celebrities all of a sudden, none of them, are giving birth to their own children anymore, right? It's this whole surrogacy thing, which raises this other question, what's going on? And there's a documentary, I forgot what it's called, but some of these surrogates that people around the world are using, these rich women who don't, who want to outsource childbirth, the risks of pregnancy and childbirth, some of the women who are being used as surrogates are trafficked from like Ukraine, from Eastern Europe, particularly, so it's all very complicated. It is, there are beautiful sides to surrogacy, just like there are beautiful sides to adoption, but there are very ugly sides as well. As Dolby says, I think the model Halima said something about this during 2020. She did call out, when a celebrity is calling out a fellow celebrity, that is bad. They typically avoid, even if the person did something terrible, heinous, they typically avoid calling each other out. So to me, that's an open and shut case that something truly, went wrong there. Again, you guys, don't forget, I will be opening up the phone lines. I'm seeing so many comments here, which is amazing. It really means that this message is important to you guys. It's got you passionate, it's got you thinking and stuff. And so I think that is mainly Caitlin and Tyler's goal when they share these aspects of their adoption story or the adoption industry in general, right? And so kudos to them for that. These conversations need to be had. Good morning, Denise. Nice to see you. Oh, how joyous your photo is. I love, love, love. It makes me want to be on a tire swing. It makes me want to be on a tire swing for some reason. I'm picturing you in the park with your baby, having the time of your life. I want to be the baby. No bills, just vibes. Hamlet says, whoever spread that picture of Carly is sick. I agree. Kay, what a cute doggy. Oh my God. Where are these podcasts? I tried searching and couldn't find them anyway. Are you talking about on Spotify, the audiobooks? Just search the name of a book that you like and then go to the audiobook section. And then if you have Spotify Premium, you will be able to listen to it for free.